was probably about 9 when it happened. And I have to say, it really changed everything. I can't imagine what my life would be like now. Like all the things I've done in the past that I can't imagine anything that I've done without that one point, that one event. It really, really shook me. It was just, yeah, it just changed my world. It made me look at things differently. You have to understand, I was a slightly disturbed child. By the time I was 9, I had lived in at least 3 different countries for extended periods of time. Immigrant parents, we moved back to the home country and the other home country and all that stuff. I had been bullied in school in Canada for being a redhead, and I had been bullied in school in Scotland for having a German last name. I was fairly antisocial. I was hyperactive and sometimes medicated for that. And yeah, I was just not a normal kid in any way. But I lived in a very, very small town in Scotland at this point. Just me, my mom, and my sister, 5 years older than me. So, we didn't have a lot in common. But, that's where we were. And would be probably a Thursday night, if I remember right. But we watched Top of the Pops. That's what we did every week. It was a constant thing. And I can't say I was particularly interested in the music at the time. My sister was into Rush and Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and all that stuff. And I didn't have much in common with her. We didn't share this interest. I came to appreciate them later, but not at the time. I really didn't care. But just sitting there, probably reading a comic or something, and something came on that caught my ears and then caught my eyes. And this would be 1977. And there's this scrawny, lanky, weird-looking guy with bright red hair bouncing around the stage, surrounded by louts, hoodlums, just thugs. And it just grabbed me in a way that I had never been grabbed before. It was anger, and it was boredom, weaponized boredom. It was dissatisfaction. No answers, no guide points to what we should do about it, but just expressing their rage. This, of course, would be the Sex Pistols. Pretty Vacant was the song. And I had never heard or seen anything like that. I don't think anyone had at that point. Every week we would tune in, and there would be not spandex, but the precursor, whatever ill-fitting thing they wore, and dancers swirling around, and ABBA, and of course, Wings, and the occasional Led Zeppelin song and stuff like that. It was all so smooth and polished and yawn-inducing. It just didn't do anything for me. I had never seen such raw rage, such a raw performance. Like I said, 9 years old, I didn't really do anything on this, but it changed the way I viewed things. I started looking at stuff just a little bit differently, a little bit more permissively. It was okay to be different. It was okay to be unusual. And more importantly, it was okay to be angry and express that. And I did in so many illegal and regretful ways. But a couple of years later, we'd moved to another town in Scotland, and we lived on an estate in a nasty council block of flats. And my friend lived upstairs. His brother had a Sex Pistols poster, big cartoon drawing of Sid on the wall, and that's all I wanted to do was just go hang out with them, be near that poster. I know it sounds weird. I just wanted to be near. I wanted to have the poster, but I couldn't steal the poster. I just wanted to be near the poster. But, I wanted to be able to express myself in the way I saw them do. And of course, things started changing. I started changing. We ended up moving back to Canada, and I'd gone through various stages of started listening to music. I was into the jam and ska for a while, and still interested in punk, of course. When I got back to Canada, which was so different from what was happening in the UK, because music there was just so polished, and youth culture at the time was so clean cut and pre-packaged and disposable. And I had come from a place where the grittier edge of life came through a lot stronger. And I brought a lot of that with me. And so I was, again, an outcast. I was the odd one. I was a little bit different from everyone else. I shortly gathered a group of friends. I mean, these were and still are awesome people that weren't exactly like me, but they were within that range. We all liked a little oddness. I remember, again, small town, not much going on. I went to a record store, and we ordered, it was me and a friend, and we ordered Dead Kennedys, Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables, vinyl. And I had to wait so long that by the time it actually got in, I had no money. And my friend's older brother bought it and kept it for himself. But we got to listen to it at his place until he became a born-again Christian and burned all his records in the backyard, which that's a weird 80s thing. But and then I ended up here in Australia, and that's when I started putting things into practice. I was done waiting. I was done watching. I wanted to be involved, and put an ad up for band members in a cool record store I found, and one person answered, who was a punk, jazz, funk aficionado. So already we were going off on a weird tangent. We played for a while, and that fell apart, and then I formed another band, and that fell apart. And through the years, I've ended up being in a number of bands, different projects, full recordings. I ended up actually going to college and becoming an audio engineer and studying all of that. But I never had, the huge success that I would have liked. But I have absolutely no regrets on this, because, like I said, every single thing I've done from that point changed things. I became open to art, to movies, to books, that it was okay. It was okay that they were different. It was okay that it wasn't mainstream. It was okay that they encouraged me to think my own thoughts or question other things from this one point where, my eyes were opened. I'm a lot older now, and I'm never going to be a punk rock star. That's okay. That's cool. I'm never going to be a star. I'm going to live my life and then quietly die one day. It's okay, because throughout all of it, I've actually managed to maintain me. I've expressed myself. I've done performance stand-up poetry. I've recorded records. Success is not a measure of how many you sell. It's a measure of how honest you do it. And I think I've managed to stick to that with everything. So whatever anyone says about punk, I owe it my life, all of my life. Yeah. That's all. I don't have any more stories today.